Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope all is well. I'm trying to get back into the groove of posting videos regularly, and one of the things that I am currently, well, I read all the time. Usually, I read between 48 and 55 books a year, and but that's the one that I'm on right now. And I've got two, two properties that I have to serve 3-day eviction notices on for failure to pay rent. One of them, they're moving out, and they told me just to go ahead and take the deposit and use that for the last month's rent. And that's not an option because that's not what we do. So we'll be filing the eviction. Another one is a problem situation that I should not have taken resident to start with. And there was some type of bad feeling, intuition, whatever you want from it. And so I'll just keep you up to date on how both of those go. And my game plan today is that I'll post the 3-day notices, send them a text message and say, hey, this is what you can do. You can either pay the rent, you can be out in the next 3 days before I go down to the courthouse, or you can do nothing, and eventually it'll get to the point where ordered out at gunpoint with the sheriff's department. So we'll just have to see. And that's the reality of the situation. That's part of being a landlord. These things happen. One of them, it was just absolutely, totally surprising. I had to do a rent increase. It was less than 20%, right at, I think, 15%. It went from 800 to 925. And all of a sudden that person was like, you put me in a bind. I have no choice. Anything that I want is, taken. That's in my price range and everything. And, and I run into this a lot in the sense that, I've had somebody else tell me, last year or the year before, said, well, man, I can't afford this. I only make $15 an hour. And I get it, but for some reason people think that, hey, I can stay at this job making this amount of money, and I don't have to increase my living or, go to a better paying job, and everything else should just stay in line with what it is that I choose to do. It's bewildering, and none of this is coming from somebody that's 18, 19 years old that's just like gone out into the world for the first time. This coming from people that have been around for a while, that have been paying bills and everything. We already know that, two things for sure is that, or three things. Prices are going to go up, taxes are going up, and death is inevitable. Those are three guarantees, okay? And so with the one person, I made a mistake, and I sent them a text message early on a weekend morning, and that person was like, I'm not responding to any that are not during business hours, which I get. Okay, that was my mistake. That was my fault. And so what I need to do is just treat it like a business and everything, and be, basically 7:30 to 6, Monday through Friday, unless it's an emergency. And so, I changed the voicemail to the business to do that, so to speak. So, the thing is that I personally feel very fortunate that, if I was faced with a rent increase, one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to move to a place that I want to pay that price, or I'm going to increase my income to be able to afford to stay where I am. And so the thing is that so often in this day and time, everybody thinks that it's somebody else's job to make sure that they're able to be comfortable so that they can live the life they want to without having to make any adjustments. And the reality of the situation is that life is full of adjustments, and we have to make them. I have to make them listening to customers. I have to make them listening to, my residents with the properties. I have to, make adjustments when, I'm trying to make something happen. I go to closing today on an owner finance property that I did. It was, north of town, a few miles. It was out there, so to speak. It, whenever it came available, it was just far away. And, and so it was kind of a pain to have to deal with and everything. And so after a year and a half of renting it, I finally just said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and owner finance it. It made a deal up and boom, it was funny, I had a lot of people, oh man, that place is crap, this, that, and everything like that. And then there was a number of people that also saw opportunity. And the lady showed up, she had the money, and we are going to closing today. So guess what? I'm going to be getting a monthly check and no phone calls. No, hey, can you fix this? Hey, can you do that? Because guess what? I don't own it. I own the note. The note gives me specific rights that if it doesn't get paid on time, these are the penalties, this, that, and everything. But otherwise, it's somebody else's to work with, And ultimately, that's what I look to do, having to do with having rental property is to get just having money coming in, okay? If you get enough of that, you get to do what you want, when you want, how you want, all right? And so now we have more freedom, we have more options, it's the old, if you got $5, you can get a Coke. You got $10, you might be able to get a Happy Meal. But if you got $100, guess what? You can get a steak and dessert. So the more money you have, the more freedoms that you have. I say all of this to kind of illustrate a few lessons. One is that, always take responsibility for your actions. You are exactly where you are at in life because of the actions that you take. It's not your thoughts, okay? I've never met anybody that says, you know what, I think it would suck being a millionaire. I think it would suck having $50,000 a month coming in and me getting to do whatever I want. I've just never heard that, okay? However, what I do see consistently, except for a very small percentage of the time, is that people will not take the action to make that $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 come in. What they will do is say, that's the life that I want, and just wait. I'm not sure what they're waiting on, but I think they're waiting on somebody to come and give it to them. Just push it right in front of them and say, okay, here you go. I think they're waiting on somebody to give them 50 houses owner financed and say, you know what, you don't have to have a down payment, here you go. And that's just not going to happen, okay? So the thing about it is that we all can influence what it is that we do and what it is that we receive. They talk about you reap what you sow, all right? And there's a lot of truth in that statement. But once you figure out that you need to start sowing what it is that you want to reap. And what I mean by that is that you need to start making those adjustments in your behavior, change your habits, change your lifestyle. One of the easiest things to do is to start living below your means. And, I always suggest to people that are talking about embarking on financial independence is a couple things. One, save up 6 months worth of expenses because something's going to happen. And even if you don't want extra money coming in and everything like that, your life is a business, okay? Even if you're working for somebody else, got to do file taxes, whatever it is, everybody, their life is a business, okay? It involves a transfer of goods or services provided, that's by you, and somebody gives you a check, whether that's an employer, a customer, whatever it is, okay? And there has to be an exchange to take place, all right? The exchange that takes place for, running the register at a fast food is, in my area, $17 an hour, If you're a construction worker, $20 to $40 an hour depending on your skill set, depending on your tools, you know, a lot of different things. And so you sit there and you have to ask yourself, what's the realistic transfer for the value that I bring? Okay. The bigger the problems that you solve, the more you're going to get paid. That's all there is to it. You know, there's a story about production got shut down at a factory and they couldn't figure out what happened or anything, and they're losing thousands of dollars per minute. Okay. They call this guy. He comes out there, walks around the assembly line, the production line, and figures out, beep, hits this button, boom, you know, everything cranks back up and they're back running. And he hands him a bill for $10,000. And the guy's like, man, you can't sit there and charge me $10,000. You were here for less than 5 minutes. He said, me coming here is $500. $9,500 is charging you for what I know. And so the value is that he knew exactly how to save them money, so he got paid really well for it. Folks, I don't make the rules, but I do have to play by them, you know, and I always used to think that, you know, as soon as I found that shoebox full of money, you know, it's going to be okay. I was too white, I was too big, I was too tall, I was too this, too ugly, whatever. I had an excuse, okay? However, there was going to be something monumental in my life that was going to change, and everything was going to be different. As soon as I started making $10 an hour, my life, all of my problems were gone. You know, as soon as I had a woman in my life, all my problems were going to be gone. As soon as I started my own business, all my problems were going to be gone. When I just had that particular motorcycle, all my problems were going to be gone. None of that happened. I mean, granted, I got a lot of those things, and, you know, I've met some really great ladies and this, and, you know, but what I'm saying is that every time that I thought that this is it, you know, it wasn't. There was something else besides that being it. And the thing is that, you know, it's not so important becoming a millionaire, or it's not so important being a millionaire. It's becoming the person on the journey to getting that million. That's what makes the difference. And the thing about it is that that's where the important lies on the journey. So I want you to have a wonderful day. I'm trying to get back into the groove of these things. And, you know, so have yourself a wonderful, productive, profitable day. And I will talk to you.